So episode 34 of the vlog was about design agencies and their BS metrics. And I want to revisit this a little bit because of the fact that in as much as the metrics are nonsense or they are disingenuous, I understand why people do them. And I'm revisiting this because over the weekend, I was reading Jeffrey Gitomer's book, The Little Red Book of Selling. And there was a quote that I wrote down from it and as something that I was going to work on this week. And I don't have the quote in front of me, but the general gist of it was make sure that everything you're writing for your business is about stuff the client cares about, which probably means it's not about you, but it's about how your service or your product solves a problem. So when people are writing these nonsense metrics, what they're trying to do is illustrate the value that they bring to the client and how they help them. So I understand that. And one of the things that maybe needs to be addressed though is there are other ways that you help clients and you work with clients that aren't nonsense. So in running with the Gitomer thing, it makes me think like, okay, well, one, I can't prove that anything that I've done like moves the dial towards more sales or something like that, more social shares. I don't know. But I also know in general, I haven't been fired or ghosted very often. I've had repeat relationships with clients that typically when we've cut off, it was because relationships changed, like someone left and it wasn't the same, or it was like mutually agreed to move on and there was no hard feelings. So what is the value that we're bringing? Well, I think about the stuff that I want out of the design process, which is I want it to be fast. I want to make work that I think is authentic to the content, and I want to make work that I believe is original. It doesn't mean it has to be groundbreaking. I just mean I don't want to take a pre-existing solution, like a template almost. And sometimes I think about trends as templates. I don't want to do that. I always want to kind of start from zero. Those things that make me happy, I realize that's why you would work with us. Because we work fast, because we actually like to work fast, and we do stuff that makes it fun for us to work fast. We don't like to work fast and be stressed out and in a nightmare. And then making original work obviously has value because it helps you stand out in the market. And making work that is authentic to the content, to me, that's part of what happens when you make stuff, you don't know what's going to happen, but the part that lets you sleep at night is the process that led to the making of that thing. That's my belief. So my belief is that like if I start with the content or I start with the brand, I kind of start from zero and I do the right process, no matter what happens, I can sleep soundly, I can feel good, I can declare that it's good work, even if it isn't connected to a project that performs as well as one would like. And then additionally, there's the stuff that we do to make our lives easier. The trying to meet with clients a little bit more and talk to them a little bit more, but do it in really fast ways. Like I don't want to sit down and have 2-hour meetings unless it's just fun. There's being more collaborative. There's doing unfinished work in order that the client picks the thing to finish. All of that stuff is the value of working with us. Like the value of working with us is what happens between the kickoff and the finish. And I imagine that that's quite different than the value of working with, say, a famous pentagram partner, where a big part of the value of working with them is you get to say that you worked with them and you get to write press releases that you worked with them and get articles published that you worked with them. Or someone who is going to knowingly court controversy or innovation in some way. So like your Sagmeister and Walsh type characters, like the way that they work is like they want attention so badly. we're not on that spectrum. Like, I'm not about to make something that's annoying just so that it gets attention in the press. Like, at the end of the day, I care mostly about the person who receives the thing. Is it useful? Is it beautiful? Is it, maybe that's it? Useful, beautiful? Is there anything else? I don't know. Does it bring some value to them? Thinking about how what we do benefits other people. Maybe this is for people early on. Maybe this is for people who know that what you're supposed to do is talk about the value that you're going to bring and the problems you're going to solve. But sometimes it feels like the problems you're solving are obvious. Like, the problems that I'm solving are obvious. Like, I'm going to make graphic design fast and it's going to be fun and we're going to do it together. But I don't see a lot of places that come out and say, what we want to do is make this as easy as possible, as fun as possible, and we want to do it quickly, and we don't want to spend a lot of time doing it. We want it to be collaborative, but we don't want to do hand-holding. We don't want to do whiteboard sessions. We don't want to brainstorm, so on and so forth. Like, that's for other places. So what this kind of comes down to is simply, like, if you're wrestling with this as well, I think the way to look at it is to go like, okay, what do you do from start to finish on a project? And why is that good? And to go beyond the obvious, because the obvious is like, the nonsense is to try to take responsibility for stuff that you can't, but that you wouldn't, right? Like, you can. I don't think you can say the graphic design sold 1 million copies of something if you're not willing to take responsibility for every failed project your studio's involved with. That feels disingenuous to me, which I guess is really important to me. But you probably do something beyond just servicing the client, beyond just finding a appropriate outcome or an interesting outcome or an efficient outcome. There's probably things that you do between that start and finish that's the value that you bring. You know, like, one of the best reasons for, like, a student not to be stressed out going into a job interview is because if you can get rid of the stress, you can show the vibe that you bring. And when you're just starting out, your enthusiasm and your vibe, coupled with the quality of the work, is the difference maker. At least that's what I find. Or your organization skills. Like, we hired an intern before. The work was good. The work was great. But the clincher was the kids' organization skills. They were mind-blowingly good. They gave you such a level of trust. And then there's other people where it was the stuff they were interested in, but they communicated that. So I think that's the thing to think about. Like, it's not just the numbers. It's not just, this is what every design studio's process is. Well, first we have a session where we talk to you and understand your problem. Like, no shit. Then we do some research. Again, no shit. Then we make some things. Again, no shit. Then we show it to you and we refine it. Again, no fucking shit. Every design studio does that. What do you do when you do those things that's interesting? What do you do between all that stuff that's interesting? And what do you actually do? Like, you don't have to be IDEO and have a bazillion Post-its up, and you don't have to be Stefan Sagmeister and have genius insights about format or whatever. Chances are there's like a set of things that you do that are peculiar to you, and that's actually the value. If you can find a way to flip it so that you're not saying, I do this, I do this, I do this, I do this, but instead you say, we do these things to help you because, or something like that. So that's the stuff I'm thinking about right now. If you have any thoughts about this, if you run a studio and you've dealt with this and you've thought this through, I would love to hear comments on it, because this is the kind of stuff I feel like does not get discussed, but it's probably really important, and the lack of talking about it probably contributes to a lot of people going out of business. All right, thanks a lot for watching. Take it easy.